Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Mindful Entrepreneur UK. Today's interview is sponsored by World Outsourcing, where we specialize in providing outsourcing services to business owners. If you're joining us for the very first time, I hope you're going to enjoy our time and learn tons from our guests. And today's special guest is all about PR. We know for a fact that as a business owner, you will need PR as a point to reach goals. Now, Christina Daves is a serial entrepreneur who has founded and run five successful companies over the last 20 years. And in the last 2 years, she discovered something very special, and that is around PR. In fact, I'll let Christina tell you all about it and how she managed to appear in over 50 media outlets in the first period of the year, starting from scratch, not knowing anything. Welcome to the call.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Incredible. You have a very special background. Would you share that with our audience today?
Yeah, so I'd actually owned a retail store, a brick and mortar, that I quote unquote retired from. I always joke that entrepreneurs can never really retire.
Right.
And we were away on vacation and I had a freak accident and I broke my foot. And the doctor put me in one of those big, ugly, black medical boots. And I was headed to New York City and I thought, I can't go to New York City looking like this. This thing is awful. So I was on the train and I started Googling, medical boot accessories, medical boot fashions, because of course in New York, I would find that, right?
Right.
And there was nothing on the market. So my brain just started spinning and I did a business plan and I did focus groups and everybody loved it. So I decided to invent this product and I had it manufactured and it all came in and I had this fulfillment center. And then I realized, oh my gosh, I invented a whole new space in the marketplace. So nobody knew that they, quote unquote, needed to decorate their medical boots.
Right.
And as most of your listeners, I'm sure, have run across, I had no budget left. I had spent too much money. So I couldn't afford advertising. I couldn't hire a PR firm. And I was desperate. So I literally taught myself everything I could about DIY PR and started figuring things out and figuring out systems that worked, the way journalists wanted to be pitched. And as you mentioned, I ended up in over 50 media outlets in my first year in business, including national television. So that was tremendous.
Incredible. And up to now, you've been featured in over 250 media outlets.
Yeah. I say this all the time. I walk the walk and talk the talk. So I'm not just telling you things to do. I do it myself. And in fact, a month ago, I got myself on the Today Show. I did a little bit of guerrilla marketing. And one of the hosts even came out and said, we just gave you a ton of airtime. I hope it does something for your business. It was amazing.
Beautiful. I love that, how you are out here as well, helping other business owners do exactly the same thing that you're doing.
Yeah, and that's what I found. And that's how this whole PR for anyone business came about, is as I was doing this for my other business, my phone started ringing off the hook from local entrepreneurs. And they were from my local networking groups. And they're like, how in the world are you doing this? Can I take you to breakfast? Can I take you to lunch? You have to show me how to do it. And I joke after a while, I couldn't do any more breakfasts or lunches. So I started this business, but it's really, the small business owner is desperate for this knowledge. So I love to share it and I love to help them, and it works. Once they know what to do, they really will start to see success with it.
Incredible. Therefore, the title of our interview today is PR Management Rules for the Road to Success. Now, to get us started, really, the nitty-gritties of how you do that. Can you talk to us about your very first approach to the PR when you came?
Yeah, so I kind of went two ways. I learned about HARO, which is Help a Reporter Out. And that's actually how I got on national television. So it's it started by somebody named Peter Shankman, who was in the industry, and he had media friends and he had business friends. And the media people were always looking for resources, for sources and guests and quotes and that kind of stuff. So he started a Facebook group. Well, it got so popular, it maxed out on the number of people. So he started this Help a Reporter Out, where 3 times a day, journalists can submit queries to people, and it's all free. And then, those of us who want to be featured in the media can respond. Well, what I figured out was how to respond to them very successfully. And I'm actually one of their biggest success stories. And that's one of the things that if anybody wants to know how to do this, I have a free gift that we're giving away. That's just free gift from Christina that shows you step by step how to have success with Haro. But I've been on the Steve Harvey show. I built a relationship with a producer from Dr. Oz. That's how I was on that show.
Right.
I've been in parenting. I've been in Forbes. I just can't tell you what that's done for my business. So I always tell people it's worth the investment of 5 to 10 minutes a day to scroll through those Haro queries.
Incredible. I love, how you've gone out there. You also have this free gift you give on your website where you interviewed people who have been in the PR industry for many years, some of the top producers, and you were amazed at how they were willing to share with you the executive strategies. Can you talk to us about that?
Yeah, so it's actually funny that you bring that up. When I had this idea, I told you my phone was ringing off the hook.
Yes.
And I had this idea to start PR for anyone, but I thought, who's going to listen to me? I'm just this person that's had a lot of success, but I'm really nobody yet in the industry. Nobody knows my name. Right. So I put this ask out to the universe, and I literally I sent emails to all these people in New York and said, hey, I'd like to do this interview series. This is my plan. I want to help people learn how to pitch the media, but I could really use your expertise in it to kind of back up what I'm saying. And I sent all these emails, and literally the first 10 people, I was going to New York for 2 days, and they all said they fell perfectly into a calendar. Oh, I can only do it Thursday at 10. Oh, I can only do it Friday at 1. But it worked, and we ended up hiring a film crew, and we literally, we did some interviews, and then we went to Peter Shankman's penthouse or in Midtown, New York. But it was amazing. But I wanted to have the credibility of people in the industry who could back up what I was saying that I was doing.
Incredible.
And we got some great people in there, some really, really good interviews.
And now that is also available to the people that come on your site, for just people, business owners who are getting started.
Yeah. And it's just go right to PR for anyone and click on Experts Corner, and you can sign up for free and you have access to the videos.
Incredible. Now, I'm glad we mentioned that, because I know a lot of people are going to want to check that out, because I am. Now, let's talk for a moment the rules of engagement, so to speak, for any business owner who is looking to start up with PR for the first time.
Yeah, so my whole philosophy on this and my success has stemmed from building relationships. So the important thing is to find 5, 10, 15, 20, however adventurous you want to be with this, but find those people in your industry that cover your topic and build a relationship with them. You don't have to dive in pitching them, see what they're talking about on social media, engage with them, share their work with your audience. I've been on my local Fox station 5 times for the same product, which is a medical boot accessory, all different ways, but it's because of relationships that I've built. And then something will come up and they'll say, oh, call Christina, she'd be perfect for this. And then, I go down and I'm on the show or on different programs that they have on Fox. Right. But yeah, it's all about doing that. And then pitching regularly. And in these interviews, they all said it's okay to pitch them a different story idea every single month. And it keeps you front of mind with them. That way, when something does come up, whether they use your pitch or not, but maybe so there's something timely in the news, then they'll reach out to you to be that expert. The one piece of advice that they all have given me, though, is keep your pitch short and sweet. They don't want these long wordy emails. and make sure you don't pitch the same thing over and over and over again.
Incredible. Say for example, people don't have that initial relationship. What do they need to do? They're just starting out. They know they need to have a relationship. Where do they go?
Yeah, you find the journalists. I always joke, there's this amazing resource out there called Google. But you really can just Google your subject matter, see who's talking about your industry, which you should know anyway. And the easiest way to start building that relationship is social media. Follow them, like their work, retweet it, repost it on Facebook or LinkedIn, share their content. And I promise you, they know who's doing that.
Incredible. And then you develop it straight from there. Imagine that they have done that. They've created the that initial and they're building the relationship. In your experience, what is it that a business owner can do that can speed the whole process, so to speak, up to the time we are promoted to on these major outlets?
Yeah, learn how to pitch good stories. And like I said, there's a lot of stuff on the website. I have a 3-pronged approach that I use. That's be newsworthy, create a great hook, and find the right journalist. So we just talked about finding the right journalist. Do a short and sweet pitch. Make it, it's all about their audience. That's what pitching the media is all about. Really has nothing to do with you or your business, but it has everything to do with you and your business. But you have to create a story that's entertaining to their audience. So if it's a magazine, if it's a newspaper, if it's television, what can you do that will provide education and entertainment to their audience? And then it's giving them that hook, that subject line, so that they will open your email and read it. Don't just say, here's a story idea. You got to catch them. You got to hook them in and make them, so they can't wait to read your email. And I have clients where those hooks have actually been used on the covers of magazines.
Wow. Well, incredible. Any tip of where they can get, become sharp at creating small hooks?
So look at magazine covers. My favorite is AARP. If you Google AARP magazine covers, they're brilliant. They're absolutely brilliant. And you can really get a feel for, you have to think about the people who write the covers, those hooks on magazines, that's their job. Their job is to get you, when you're in the grocery store line, to buy that magazine. So when you can see what the magazines are doing, it'll give you a really good feel for what a good hook is. And the other thing is on the morning programs or the news programs, when they say coming up next, that's a hook. That's to get you to stay through the commercials and come back and hear that next story.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. I like that because there are certain programs that I actually wait to hear the hook because it's even more interesting than sometimes the actual content.
Yeah, exactly. But that's a hook, and that's exactly what you need to do, or your listeners need to do, when they send their story in.
Incredible. Awesome. And say they've covered all these things. Is there anything else I have not asked you which you feel if business owners are to focus on these things, they increase their chances of appearing on these major outlets?
Yeah, well, to get on the major, especially major television, you have to have local experience. They won't, a Today Show, a Good Morning America, they're not going to put somebody on who's never been on television before. So I always tell people, start local, do podcasts, do new podcasts when people are desperately looking for guests and you're desperately looking for experience. Get your feet wet, get used to it. Local publicity is the easiest publicity to get. Your local newspapers, your regional newspapers, magazines, they're always looking to fill content about local people. So that's a great way. And those are the people that are really easy to get on the phone too, because you always want to follow up with a phone call. I would say 90% of my success has been sending the email and then following up with a phone call.
Beautiful, beautiful. I'm taking notes as we speak as well. But because you are saying some really, really cool things that, you know, even we are doing well with doing some of these things. If we can chop them up, you know, who knows where we can get. And I'm sure our business owners in our community are doing exactly the same thing.
Yeah, it's all just putting the processes in place and getting a system together where you're pitching just regularly. It just becomes part of your marketing plan.
Incredible. And then you become consistent. You do it over and over and over again.
Yep. And it works. It really, and you're not going to get booked every single time, but if you're taking the time to do the HARO and to pitch locally and do that, you will get the coverage. And there is huge ROI in it. We have a program that we do for realtors, a certification program. And I have one realtor who used our system and got in the Washington Post and got a phone call that day from somebody who read the article, and he ended up becoming a purchaser with her and bought $1 million farm.
Incredible.
So yeah, it works. It really does work.
Incredible. You mentioned about HARO, and I know that there's some audience who have never had the experience. Can you talk us through how that works, or what's the best practice to get the most out of it?
Yeah. Again, it comes out 3 times a day. It comes out, and this is Eastern Standard Time, but it's about 6 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon, and 6 in the evening. Right. And it's journalists who need sources for their stories or their television programs. So they'll put queries in there. And again, that free gift from Christina is years of trial and error that I figured out how to respond to those journalists so you'll have the most success. You know, how do you get them to read your email versus the other 100 that come in? And how do you have success? You know, how do you write that email so that they'll want to use you versus somebody else?
Okay, I can understand. And I encourage you to go to that website. Christina, can you tell us again the website?
Free gift from Christina, and Christina is Christina.
Oh, beautiful. And you know, other than HARO as the source of resource, are there any PR management tool out there that you know and maybe you feel a lot of people are not aware of that you would love to share with?
You know, there's really not. There are a couple tools. There's Hey Press, and I think it's www.hey.press, which is in beta right now. It's a kind of a good source to find journalists. Muckrack is a great resource for finding journalists. Right. It's a weird name. It's MUCK and then RACK. It's kind of like the New York Times of Twitter, but it's all the journalists, who's active, who's talking about what subjects. So I love using that as well. But in terms of, you know, a pitching app or anything like that, it really just goes back to old-fashioned hard work. You know, put your systems in place, create boilerplates, don't reinvent the wheel once a week, you know, get it all there. So all you have to do is cut and paste and send off. You know, personalize an email to the right person, tweak it a little bit, and it shouldn't take more than 5 to 10 minutes a day.
Incredible. And of course, if you are that busy, you can use a virtual assistant to do some of these little things.
Absolutely, and we talked about it a little bit, and I'd like to talk more about what you do too, but we actually have a virtual assistant certification program where we are training virtual assistants to use our systems and we have this whole system of using PR and social media together to speed up this entire process. And we teach them exactly what to do. And at the end, there's actually a certification exam that they take. And then we have a list put together of people who know how to use these proven systems. So if people are looking, you know, if they don't have time to do it themselves, we can actually put them in touch with people who are certified in these methods.
Incredible. Yes, would love to talk to you about that. Yes, absolutely. You know, jumping on to maybe slightly different subject. I know you are a business owner in your own right. And has it always been like that you run your own business or you want to work for somebody else?
My life took a very interesting path. I went to the university and I was a double major in political science and German. And I had a job in Germany. I was ready to move. And my father was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer.
Right.
And this was at a time before we had Skype and FaceTime and cell phones. And it was a difficult time in my life. And I decided not to go, and I decided not to do that. And everything, that whole experience, my father passed away and I was very young. And that kind of put me on an entrepreneurial path. I had some friends that were starting an event planning company. And it was 2 guys and they wanted a girl to come in, you know, kind of just to have that perspective. And I did that for, gosh, almost 10 years. So that just started the entrepreneurial path. I did some other businesses. I mentioned I had a brick and mortar store. So that was not my original path, but that was the path that I was given. And I think once you start as an entrepreneur, I think it's very difficult to go back and work for somebody.
You cannot go back knowing what you know now.
Yeah, no way.
Yes. During that time, you know, when you were transitioning, you know, would you say you faced some challenges from, you know,
of course.
And what were those big challenges?
Oh, it's hard. I tell people that. I mean, I wouldn't trade what I do for anything in the world, but I mean, there are days when you don't know how you're going to pay the next bill. And when I was on the Steve Harvey show, that was one of those times. I was at pretty rock bottom. You know, I had a product that nobody knew about. I had loans, I had bills, and I just, you know, and I remember vividly, it was a Tuesday night and I was so upset. It's like, I don't know what else I can do to make this business work. You know, I've tried everything. And literally on Wednesday morning, I had an email from the Steve Harvey show that said, you know, we might want to put you on the show. Can you do a video? And it was this whole process. And at the end of the day, they ended up having me on the show, and it was an inventors competition, which I won, and I won $20,000.
Oh.
And but that changed everything. That was the shot in the arm the business needed. I had some money, I could do some things. And so don't ever give up. You just don't know, you know, what door could open for you. Yeah, don't give up. Just always, there's a reason you started the business. And I know it's cliche to say, but you had that fire in your belly, you had that passion, and it's something that nobody else has, that, you know, made you start that business. So don't give up. Do whatever you can to make it work. And know you're not alone. There's not an entrepreneur out there who's just sailed to success. I don't believe that.
No, you know, and more often than not, you know, entrepreneurs go through the same stages, the same struggle, they face the same struggle. They may deal with it differently, but it's the same struggle. Let's talk about the role of mentors in your life during those early stages. Do you have any mentors or coach?
Oh, absolutely. You have to. And it's funny. Today I have an interview that's coming out on my blog, but that was one of the things that we talked about in there. And what I found is most people are willing to help. If you ask somebody as a mentor, you know, I've been following you, I've been, you know, can I talk to you about this? I haven't found anyone who's dismissed me and said no. And I have 2 mentors, and yeah, I couldn't do it. I couldn't have done what I've done without them. But, you know, there's that old saying that when you're a 3rd grader, a 5th grader knows so much more and just seems so much more intelligent. So there's always going to be, when you're a 3rd grader and there's a 5th grader, and then you're going to be the 5th grader to somebody. So you have to remember that too, that you're going to be a little further along, and who can you help, you know, in their quest to get where you are.
Right. And you pay it forward.
Yep, absolutely.
Incredible. Now, you know, there's one question I get asked when I featured in many of these interviews myself, and I'm going to present it to you as well. And it is, knowing what you know now about running a business or about the PR in the industry, what would you do if you were to start all over again? Or maybe do differently?
Right. Well, I made a lot of mistakes. So that these things that I figured out, you know, like how to do the Harrow, you know, how to pitch regularly to journalists, how to build relationships with them. If I had known that, I mean, it took me about, you know, a good year to figure all of that out. So that's the thing. I mean, sometimes you need to invest in your business with somebody who's done that and made all those mistakes to save you the time from doing that as well. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes, absolutely. You know, when you have a mentor, you shortcut your your learning curve. You know, you just go straight to the point. Incredible. Christina, I would like to respect your time, but before we do that, I know there are some people in the audience who want to connect with you at some level, maybe use some of your services, or you know, maybe work with you on the role of a mentor. How can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, so everything is at PR for Anyone. That's Twitter, Facebook, that's the website. Anyone can set up a call with me, chatwithchristina.com. That gives you access to my calendar. If I can, you know, if you want to talk about what we can do to help your business, I do free strategy calls. So that's an option as well.
Incredible. And again, that website is prforeveryone.com.
Well, that will actually forward to it, but it's prforanyone.com.
PR for anyone. Okay, excellent.
But I do own the other domain, so that'll get you there too.
Beautiful. Christina, as a successful business owner in your own right, you know, what does your day look like, and what do you prioritize?
You know, it's funny. I was just talking to somebody about this the other day. So I'm a morning person. Right. I get more done from 6 a.m. to noon than most people get done in an entire day. So I found that's my creative time. That's when I do that kind of work. That's when I do my client work. And then my busy work that doesn't require my brain as much is the second half of my day. But the nice thing about being an entrepreneur, and I work from home, I have kids. You know, I have the ability to drop everything and go to a lacrosse game, or somebody's not in school and they want to go to lunch. You know, I can do that. And that's something when I had a brick and mortar was really hard for me to work, you know, especially Thanksgiving to Christmas. I owned a gift shop that we worked 24/7. So that's, you know, that's the benefit of being an entrepreneur. But I think the most important thing is to know when you're the most effective at your work and plan your day around that. You know, some people are morning people, some people are night people, but that's when you should be doing the core of your business.
Right. That's so helpful. Absolutely. I'm a night person. You know, I get told off many times because I go to bed around 2. You know, because I'm very effective, you know, at that time, and understanding, you know, the time that you work best, absolutely crucial. Where do you see business owners making a lot of mistakes when it comes to PR?
Pitching the wrong person, pitching about themselves versus making it something that's beneficial to the audience. It's not a me. It has to be what benefits them. That's really probably the two biggest. You know, I've had journalists tell me that publicists make it easy for them because those emails are so long, they just delete them. They don't even read them. Right. But the most important thing is making a story something that can benefit the journalist's audience. And once you figure that out, you will be so much more successful.
I like the sound of that. Well, you know, Christina, you've been absolutely wonderful, and we are coming to the end of our time together. Is there anything, maybe about entrepreneur or about PR, that you want to leave our audience with, you know, as we come to the end of our time together?
Yeah, don't be afraid of the media. So many people are, and just remember that, especially in today's day of 365, 24/7, that's constant news, constant, you know, information out there, that if you can become a good resource to them, they will welcome you into their tribe and they'll use you over and over and over again.
Wow, that's profound. That's profound. Well, with that said, Christina, you've been absolutely wonderful, and we would like to thank for taking your time and giving us such a great interview. And I'm sure business owners in our community today, in our audience, have a much clearer understanding of the rules to follow when it comes to PR management. And once again, if you're joining for the first time or you caught us while in the middle of this, invite you to visit Christina's website, which is prforanyone.com, and you'll be able to connect with her from there. There are some great tips there of how she managed to appear in over 50 media outlets in less than a year, not knowing anything, but just doing right from scratch, and to share some tips how you too can do exactly that. Once again, thank you, Christina, for being here with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Incredible. And I look forward to having another episode with you. And thank you for joining us again today. With that said, goodbye.